and welcome to episode 6 of Stuttering Demystified. This is your host, Lori Melnitsky, speech language pathologist, stuttering specialist, and a person who happens to stutter also. In today's episode, I am thrilled to bring on a very special young man named Thomas, who I have known for the past 2 years and I have worked with. And I would love for you to hear the inspiration from someone else who stutters also. Hi, Thomas.
Hi, hi everyone. Hi, Lori. How are you?
I'm okay. Thank you so much for being on.
It's a pleasure to be on. I enjoy speaking about my speech, and I enjoy speaking about the things that we all have to overcome.
That's great. So why don't we start? Can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I am a I am a fourth year college student. I I got my associates from Nassau Community College, and now I attend Queens College to get my bachelor's and as well as my master's. Um, my speech was something that bothered me more in high school, and making the leap to college, it was a little difficult at first, but I was able to overcome it just through practice, but also I feel like it's attributed to personal growth as well, because during the time I first began college, I had just began to get more work experience and get more experience with speaking to different people every day, as opposed to speaking to the same people every day, the same people who are comfortable or who I am comfortable with speaking to. And I feel as though getting out of my comfort zone was something that was very helpful for me.
Wow. And Thomas, I have to say, after hearing you speak, I remember when you first walked into my office, and I was wondering, it's really amazing. I was wondering if you can just maybe go through some of the steps, or why specifically at that time did you decide to try and go for stuttering or fluency therapy?
Around that time, it was my senior year of high school. Um, we've actually been seeing each other for going on 4 years now. We're in our third year.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, time flies. But my senior year of high school, I feel as though there was a lot of pressure with making the leap to college, but also becoming more of an adult, and it may have interfered with my speech, and I just didn't know how to control it. I always had fluency issues growing up, but that year especially, it got very difficult to speak. I was stammering, I was pushing, I was blocking. Um, it was very difficult for me to say a sentence, or to say things like thank you or have a good day. I would just pause on the H, or I would pause on the TH. Um, and during that time, my mom thought it was the best thing for me to go back to speech therapy, but I also wanted to do it for myself, because I knew that I could do better if I applied myself, and I just needed more of a direction.
I think that's really interesting what you said, because you talk a lot about self-motivation, which I think happens more in high school, and especially when you're getting ready to start college.
Yeah.
You've I just have to ask you, because you've always, and I can't believe that long, but you've always been a very positive person, very inspirational. I've always found you very inspirational. And I found, like, even when you hit some bumps in the road, you were always trying to move forward. You spoke at some of my workshops. Have you, uh, how did, how do you think that that positive attitude, it seems like you always felt that you had to push yourself more. How did that come about?
Um, I believe it came about just um being a s- a person who stutters, but also being an only child. I was always around adults and I was always speaking to adults. So I always got the sense of waiting my turn in a conversation, and I feel as though I'm able to apply that to other things in my life because of course I still wait my turn in a conversation, but there are days where I may not be speaking my best, or there are days where I may or we all have our bad days, and I feel as though it's important for us all to learn to wait our turn, and if today is not our day, then we move on to the next day. And with moving on, it doesn't mean that we totally forget about yesterday, but we move forward from yesterday with different strategies or different ways of going about doing things.
That's amazing. Do you, and also one thing I just want to point out, because I remember when you started college, you are one of these people who, I was always the person in college who studied, who didn't raise my hand a lot, but you have always been the complete opposite. It sounds
Yeah.
like you, like, always wanted to be heard. Can you explain that more?
Um well, the way it first started, when I first got to college, it felt as though I wanted to beat everyone to it. I wanted to beat everyone to the discovery that I stuttered. I didn't want them to find out through um, the professor just randomly calling on me and I stumble on my answer. I wanted everyone to hear it from me that I am a person who stutters, but it will not affect my participation. And I wanted to make everyone comfortable because it makes me more uncomfortable when people are uncomfortable.
Wow. I
And
find, hmm,
and after my first semester, I believe I seen how professors are, and I seen how my fellow students are, and the aspect of they could care less if I stutter or if I don't, because if it doesn't take away from their class time, or if it isn't bothering them, then I shouldn't assume that it is going to bother them. I should be more confident when I speak and just pretend that, well, not pretend, but believe more that I am just like everyone else. And we are, but we just have to practice more with talking as opposed to other people.
So, you bring up so many interesting points. As always, I could speak to you for hours. If you can give like two or three tips to the high school or the college student who stutters, what would that be?
Okay, three tips. The first day when students and teachers, or students and professors, are doing those little icebreaker activities, my favorite thing to do is to actually um lead with, "Hi, my name is Thomas Jones. I am a person who stutters, but I am attending speech therapy and I am working on my fluency. So if there are and any days or any times where I'm having trouble participating, just bear with me and be patient." And usually everyone is very receptive to this. Some people may even ask questions. Like I remember my second semester, there were a few students who took speech pathology or speech pathology classes in my psychology class. So well, we were all in the same class, and a couple of students asked me questions about my fluency and when I began to go to speech therapy stuff like that. So you could see how just being open can be a conversation starter, but also sort of a connection starter as well, because you never know who you might meet, or what you have in common with other people if you don't speak up. Um, Second tip, I would say, to when you are participating, to always speak loud. Project your voice and make sure you are heard, but also work on your pace when you are speaking, because I I feel as though we all have an idea of what we are going to say and how we want to say it, but for some reason, when we rush through it, no matter how fluent you are, it doesn't come out the way you intended. And some people, it may just be smooth and they're able to roll with it. But for myself, I know that if I rush through my sentences, then I'm going to run into a rough time. So I always take my time and I project my voice and I try to speak as though I am someone else. Like my favorite person to pretend to be is um Denzel Washington, because just the way he speaks and the way he carries his lines, he it just seems as though he's on no one else's time but his own. And I I can take that and I could apply that to my speech. Um Third tip, I would say, aside from speaking in class, I would say to on more of a I would say that we all need to be as self-confident as we can be, and ways a way to improve your speech can be becoming more self-confident, and you achieve that through other areas in school or at work, or even who you are around during your free time. And I feel as though when we step out of our comfort zone, we are able to accomplish more, and we feel better about the things we accomplish because it is bigger to us. It may not be a fantastic accolade to speak to someone in the cafeteria, but those small victories helped me stay on track and helped me improve.
Amazing. Well, Thomas, I love your advice. I want to thank you so much for being on.
Of course, thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to the next time I could share as well.
Me too. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Again, this is Lori Melnitsky, Director of All Island Speech and Stuttering Therapy and host of Stuttering Demystified. If you need more information, you can always look up our website at www.allislandspeech.com. Thank you.